Available now. Link below.
Tonight, we face a reality that challenges the very essence of our freedoms. In North Carolina, a young student's academic career is jeopardized over his use of a term defined in U.S. law during an English class. Meanwhile, chaos unfolds at New York City Hall as illegal immigrants loudly demand more than their share. And in Denver, the mayor decides that illegal border crossers deserve the city's funds more than its own police department. These stories aren't just isolated incidents. They're a reflection of a troubling trend that could reshape our nation's future. So what does this mean for your rights, your safety, the American way of life? We'll uncover the disturbing details and bring you the unvarnished truth, and you don't want to miss our final thought. It's a wake-up call to every citizen who cares about preserving the fabric of our great republic. Now, folks, before we dive into our special report, let's take a moment to understand the gravity of what's at stake here. Much like how we depend on the integrity of our laws to maintain order, we also rely on vital resources like nickel. Did you know that the U.S. doesn't produce any nickel domestically? We import every pound mainly from places using harmful extraction methods. Now imagine our dependency not just on a foreign supply of a critical metal, but on foreign entities controlling it. Alaska Energy Metals is working to change that, promising environmentally responsible mining right here at home. Support American resilience and independence in critical metals. Visit alaskaenergymetals.com to learn more. You'll find a link down below. So as we consider the vulnerabilities that come from relying on external sources for essential resources such as nickel, we must also scrutinize the policies and events that expose our societal foundations to similar risks. Now let's dive into these pressing issues, starting with the troubling incident in a North Carolina high school. In Lexington, North Carolina, a high school student faced a severe repercussion for his choice of words during an English class. Christian McGee, a 16-year-old at Central Division High School, used the term illegal alien in response to a vocabulary assignment. His query about the term, framed innocently as a distinction between extraterrestrial beings and people living in the U.S. without legal permission, led to a 3-day suspension. The school labeled his words as offensive and disrespectful to Hispanic students, igniting a fierce debate over free speech in educational settings. Now, the incident raises profound questions about the state of free expression in our schools. If a term legally accurate and commonly used in media and law becomes grounds for punishment, what message are we sending to our young thinkers and future leaders? Now, support for McGee poured in from various quarters, including notable figures who criticized the school's decision. Elon Musk chimed in on social media, calling the suspension absurd and reinforcing that illegal alien is a term used in the United States and in law. Christian's mother voiced concerns on the Pete Kaliner show, highlighting the potential long-term impacts on her son's academic and athletic future. She argued that what should have been a teachable moment turned into a punitive action that could tarnish her son's record unfairly. And illegal immigrants swarming New York City Hall to protest housing accommodations, moving from classrooms of North Carolina to the steps of New York City Hall. Another contentious scene unfolded. Over 1,000 illegal immigrants gathered to demand better housing and more robust assistance programs. This large-scale protest highlights the growing tensions in urban centers over resources allocated to illegal immigrants, particularly in sanctuary cities. The demonstrators, predominantly young males, voiced their dissatisfaction with the current living conditions and the pace of assistance. Footage from the scene captures the intensity of the protest with chants and calls for substantial changes in how the city handles migrant issues. Take a look.
What is going on here? What is really going on here? What's going on here? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing over here? Why are you guys in line here? What the fuck is going on?
City officials, including Speaker Adrian Adams, responded by promising to enhance the migrant experience in New York. This includes the formation of a new arrivals strategy team tasked with improving integration and support for migrants, a move that has stirred debate among residents about priorities and resource allocation. Now, the Denver mayor defunding police to support illegal border crossers in Denver, that's where it happened. The situation takes a different dimension as Mayor Mike Johnson made the controversial decision to defund the police by $8 million, reallocating those funds to cater to the needs of illegal border crossers. This policy shift is emblematic of a broader national debate on immigration and public safety. The funding cut has sparked outrage among Denver residents who see their safety compromised. Critics argue that reducing police resources, especially during a time of rising crime rates, sends the wrong message about the city's priorities. This decision not only affects public safety, but also raises questions about the sustainability of such policies. As we delve deeper, it becomes evident that these funds will be directed towards housing and employment programs for migrants, a decision that has been met with mixed reactions. While some have seen it as a humanitarian effort, others view it as a misplacement of civil priorities, especially when local communities are facing their own challenges. Let's take a look at a news report on this.
Well, new tonight, Denver Mayor Mike Johnson announcing a budget plan for migrants coming to the city. The cost nearly $90 million. That's half of what the mayor had predicted just months ago.
Yeah, the funding budget focused on funding migrant aid and sheltering for the rest of the year. A good chunk of that budget, $51 million of it, will go to shelter and housing, along with supportive services to help with jobs. Mayor Johnston says the city is making cuts to Denver's vacancy savings, capital funds, and technology projects. Core community resources will no longer be impacted, meaning that all rec centers will be open for the summer, along with parks and recs. There will be no more layoffs or furloughs, and those employees with reduced hours will go back to normal hours as of today.
We spent a lot of time, as you know, this January and February advocating at the federal level for support here. There was a bipartisan bill to do that failed in the House. You know that story. I think what we found at that point is whether we would like the federal government to do it or not, that was no longer a choice for us. It was clear that was not going to happen in this Congress in the next 7 months. So we felt like we had to take this into our own hands to come up with a solution. And that's why what we've come up with is something that both provides better support for newcomers and stabilizes the budget for Denver residents without cutting core public services.
The mayor says the goal is not just to use all of the funding, but they're getting ready for potential surges. Any unused money would roll over into next year.
Now, these incidents are not isolated, but are reflective of a broader national context. Under the previous administration led by President Trump, there was a starkly different approach to immigration and border control. Trump's policies were centered on strengthening border security and reducing illegal immigration, which he argued was necessary for national security and economic stability. The contrast between the current and former administration policies could not be more apparent. With the 2024 election on the horizon, these issues are likely to become central themes as they resonate deeply with American citizens concerned about national integrity, safety, and the rule of law. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Tonight's report brings us face to face with a series of incidents that challenge the core principles upon which our republic stands. From a North Carolina classroom, where a student is penalized for using legally accurate terminology, to the streets of New York City and the council chambers of Denver, where the priorities of illegal immigrants seemingly overshadow the needs of lawful citizens and public safety. These are not just isolated skirmishes in the culture wars. They represent a broader assault on common sense and the rule of law. As Americans, it's imperative that we address these issues head-on, affirming our commitment to fairness, justice, and the security of our nation. We must ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want to forge? Do we choose a path of legal adherence and respect for our citizens, or one of chaos and disregard for the frameworks that have sustained our great republic? The answer should be clear, so let's choose wisely.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.